Okay, so we had just finished off with A. We decided it was C of n is equal to 20n plus 320. So make sure you're being conscientious of the variables that are presented in the question. Do not create your own. There typically will be variables mentioned. So second, what notation could be used to find the cost of the banquet if 125 people attended? So we're talking about people. The variable that represents the number of people is n. So we're asking what's going to happen when n is 125. Okay. So we'll use our function notation that we just created and replace n with 125. So it'll become 20 times 125 plus 320. Again, you're allowed to do this calculation out in just one step if you'd like, and you will get a total of 2,820. And then if we move on to C, what notation could be used to find the number of people who attend the banquet if Nikita's budget is 1,250? So this time we're talking about the cost, which is the C, which means we're going to be replacing this entire side with the goal of trying to find n the number of people. So 1,250 is equal to 20n plus 320. So I'll start by subtracting 320 from both sides. When I do that, I get 930. And then when I divide both sides by 20, I'm going to end up with 46.5. But remember, n represents people, and we most definitely cannot have zero point 0.5 of a person. So I would round down to 46 instead of rounding up because we don't have a full complete person. So D, what values of n do not make sense in this situation? So n represents the number of people. So there is going to be a capacity for the number of people in the space or in the room. So you can say it definitely has to be a positive number. So n definitely has to be positive. Okay. And n has to be less than the capacity. Okay. And we're going to learn how to represent this with domain and range tomorrow in class. Sorry, I guess Monday in class. Okay, the last thing we're going to be going over here is drawing versus sketching using both our current knowledge and then also the graphing calculator technology. So draw, when it is stated in IB, means you're representing a full labeled accurate diagram or graph. Okay, it has to be very nicely drawn with a ruler, straight lines, appropriate, and drawn to scale. Okay, they should be have the points correctly plotted and joined. And then a sketch is a little more lenient. It's meant to be more of a representation of a diagram or graph with labeling of key values. And it should really just give the general idea or the general shape or relationship. Okay. So here we see draw, which means we need to be putting effort into the visual representation. So A says x-intercept of -3, 0, and then a y-intercept of 0, 5. So I would automatically, if not provided already, label your x and y axes before you even begin. And then number your x and y axes with the values that are important. So I'll put 1, okay, and then we'll place uh, our points. So our x-intercept here crosses at -3, so we'll place a point there. And our y-intercept at +5, so I actually should have written that 5 up there. And now we're going to use a ruler and a pencil to draw a line that touches those 2 points. And make sure if you're drawing a line that you are putting arrows on the end to say that it would continue unless we're looking at a situation that might not have positives or negatives. Okay. So that would be the first one. So the second one stating a y-intercept of 0, -1 and a slope of 1/2. Oh, actually, before I fully move on, you can also write the points in to be very specific. Okay. Again, clarity is key for IB. They want to see that you are very clear with your understanding. Okay, next up, this again started with X and Y. So we have a y-intercept of -1 and a slope. So I'll start by showing this -1 on the graph. And again, I would write the values in to be very clear. I'll do it very quickly here just to save us some time. Okay. So I will place a point in at -1. Oh, sorry. My mistake. I'm going to place the -1 here as a y-intercept. Okay, and then a slope of 1/2. Okay, so that means from this point, we increase by 1 in terms of the y values, and then increase by 2 in terms of the x value. So this would be the next point. As soon as you have 2 points, you have all the information you need. You can draw a line between those points. We can identify these 2 points like so. Okay. So then we're going to be moving on here onto C and D. So C, this is in slope-intercept form. So just remember y equals mx plus b. B is the y-intercept. So we're going to be crossing at +1. Again, this time, although it's tedious, it is necessary to put all of these pieces of information in when you're seeing an IB command term of draw. So let's start with that y-intercept of +1. Okay. And then we have a slope of negative, and if nothing's there, that just represents there's a 1/1 there. So that means I'm going to decrease 1 and then increase 1. Okay, so the y is changed by -1 and the x is changed by +1. Okay, like so. Once again, we attach and identify those key points. Okay, on to the next one. So for this last one here, we're looking at function notation like we were just discussing. We also have a couple larger values. A reminder that this is just another way of saying y is equal to 40 plus 5n, or even y is equal to 5n plus 40. Okay? And remember, n can also be considered just an x value. Okay? But when we place our values onto this Cartesian plane, it's not going to be considered x and y. It is still going to be considered n and c. Okay, so just make sure you're using the variables that are provided. So with this, the y-intercept is going to be 40, or the c-intercept is going to be 40. So I need to make sure this is going to increase enough. So I might jump up by 10s. Okay. And then on the x-axis, we're going to have a slope of 5. So to help with 5s, I might go up by 5s, but this is up to your discretion of what you feel is appropriate to increase by. Okay, so let's start with that +40 here. Okay, and then a slope of 5/1. So I would be going up to 45 and over 1. You could also increase this to make it a larger jump. I could even go 10 over 2. You could increase it so much, maybe multiply it by 10, so go 50 over 10. Okay, anything like that to help you graph. So using up 10 over 2, I'd be placing about here. Okay, or if you did the up 5 over 1, that works. On top of that, if you prefer to find the x-intercept by just replacing this with 0 and solving for x, so subtracting 40 and dividing that by 5, you are totally welcome to do that as well. So you're going to end up with a -8, so it should cross down here at -8 either way. But this works. I'm going to attach this with a line and identify these 2 points. So we have the point 0, 40. We found this one here as well because it's 2 over, so it's going to be 250. And this one we can easily find by replacing y with 0 and finding that it's going to be -8, 0. Okay, so lots of key pieces of information there. And then last up is using the graphing calculator. I did create a video here. I highly suggest that you all download the app Calculate 84 to your cell phones if you have an Apple product. It's basically just a recreation of a graphing calculator that you can have on the go with you. So this was me using this application. So let me just get this started and I'll explain while it's going. Okay. So the first function that we have here, I put y is equal to, in it I put -x squared plus 4. Make sure you're using the negative and not the subtraction sign. So I should see it. If you can't see it, press window or zoom to change. Now I clicked second calc and I'm going to find the zeros. And I'm finding the zeros because in a quadratic, there is a point where it crosses the x-intercept here and here, and those are called zeros. Okay, so I'm going to start by trying to find this 0, and it's going to ask for a left bound and a right bound. So you're going to see I'm going to take this little arrow and I'm going to use these arrows here to move left and right. And once I am anywhere left of this 0 point, I just press enter. So you'll see, look, I'm moving left, I press enter. I move right, I press enter, and then it tells me x is equal to -2 is this spot. Okay, then I'm going to move and find the other 0. So again, to the left of it, and then to the right of it, each time pressing enter, and so this is +2. And then I'm going to find the maximum. Just a reminder, in this graph here, it just so happens that our maximum is also the y-intercept. That's not always the case with a quadratic. So I'm going to find the maximum, it's the largest point. And again, it's asking for a left bound using those arrows. So we go to the left, press enter, to the right, press enter, and I find the maximum. This calculator should actually give you 0, 4. Okay. And for the second example, over here it is square root. Again, place square root of x minus 3, press graph, take a peek, and then we're going to do an additional calculation here for a quick second. Okay, so I'm going to draw that first one in. It does say sketch, so it doesn't need to be perfect, but I am still going to make it look pretty accurate. So x and y, we said it touched at -2 and +2, and then the maximum was at 4. So I'll write those points in. Oops, sorry, -2. And I will draw this. For this one, it did look like a curve. We can easily find where the curve starts by finding the x-intercept, which remember, you can just find by replacing y with 0. Okay, and then if I were to square both sides, well, the square root of 0 is just 0. And then add 3. So it should start here at 3. And then it did something like this. So I'm just going to draw visually what I saw. and label my